Hey guys, you're watching Divide by Zero Gaming. We are here bringing you a Starcraft cast, something we have not really done for a long time. I'm here with Hugh. We're going to be doing another dual cast like we used to. Today's game is going to be between two guys from the same clan, which is like M and then some funky sign. I don't even know what that is. We're really out of date on Starcraft because we have not touched it in ages, so we don't know any of the new clans or anything like that. It is going to be Todd, the blue Protoss player, versus Stephano, the pink Zerg player in the top corner, and I totally forget the name of this map, actually. It's like Xel'Naga Caverns, I think. Hugh, do you remember?
Yeah, Xel'Naga Caverns indeed is the name.
So, we are... Oh, they changed the UI so much, but we are really out of date when it comes to StarCraft cast because we haven't done this in forever, so we're going to be doing our best, and you guys can all laugh at how much we don't know about the game anymore. It looks like we do have Scouting Probe and an Overlord going out around the same time, so the Probe is obviously going to make it there first because it is much faster and get that earlier scouting information for Todd.
Yeah, he's going to see that spawning pool. Pretty standard timing there. A little bit actually early, so it's 11 pool, so that's, I think 14 pool is still standard. Maybe they've changed that, but he hasn't scouted yet the forge on the low ground, so he's definitely going to go for that fast expand. That Overlord is going to take a long time to get there, so he's still really in the dark, so I'm surprised he's hasn't sent a drone to scout that. He hasn't expanded, and he's just blind witting that spawning pool, but it's going to end up working out pretty nicely for him because he's going to have that early aggression while the Protoss has no units out.
I mean, I think part of the reason he might not have wanted to send the drones out for the scouting is because he is getting the spawning pool up a little earlier, so he's already taking a hit to his economy because of that, because he's not producing as many workers earlier on, and as a result, he just didn't want to sacrifice the extra worker to go get the scouting information. So.
Yep. Protoss only putting up one cannon at the moment, just gonna go probably directly into, he's gonna probably go directly into Nexus now. Got a pretty good economy going. He's definitely outdoing the Zerg player 18-15. So throwing up that Nexus now, he's going definitely 100% economy, and he has that probe now patrolling back and forth after stealing a little bit of minerals. Here comes two Zerglings to kick him out. So he's going to leave probably unscathed, as Zerglings with that speed are probably not going to be able to catch him.
Actually, they're getting a decent number of hits off. We'll see if they manage to get him here. Run, little probe, run.
And he does have his drone patrolling. He didn't want to make the hatchery until he knew that the probe wasn't going to be able to get there. And actually, that probe is probably going to go down as... It's going to be pretty close.
Looks like he has the shields back up now, so he is going to make it to the safety, and the Zerglings are going to wisely not charge into an ion cannon. They are going to manage to get around the back here and start doing a little harassment on this other photon cannon, trying to bring it down before it finishes, and it looks like they do force the cancel on that one there. And they're going to start going for the pylon now. We'll see if they can take it down in time.
Really good play, actually. Forcing a lot of minerals out of this Protoss player who went for this very economy build early on, so he's actually not going to be supply blocked, so really good there, not getting himself supply blocked, and these Zerglings are going to have to run away. He does have that cannon now kind of in a bad place, so unfortunately...
Don't believe it's going to have power when it comes on now. No, it does not. So,
but that new pylon
going Zealots out there, so he is going to be able to protect against further attacks, at least a little bit more, although he is starting to mass up Zerglings, and it looks like they do have the speed upgrade now, if I am not mistaken.
Yep. So here they come, and it's only one cannon. I don't know how much they're going to be able to do. They're actually taking a lot of free hits. They're trying to find a way around. Not 100% sure what they're going to be able to do. They're trying to catch off some probes right here. They're going straight into the main. Oh no, this is terrible.
Did not quite manage to block that with the Zealot there, and they're going to charge straight in and just, start going to work on these probes here. One goes down. They're actually turning the probes around to attack now, and getting a surround on the Zealot there, going to take him out. He's doing a very good job with these Zerglings. Yeah, great micro there, and he's going to start harassing that. Assimilator, I'm forgetting the names of buildings now. This is awful.
I don't think he'll be able to do too much with that Stalker in the line. He doesn't have enough Zerglings just to take it out, especially with the probes there. He has put him on the defensive here, and he's probably delayed these gateways a lot. He's having to chrono boost now to get out some units to defend himself. Meanwhile, if we look at the production tab, we do have missile attack level 1s going up for the Zerg, so he's trying to pronounce upon this advantage that he's secured himself. Grabbing a couple. Oh, he's taking out all the gas probes, so that's really good right there. He got 3 more probably.
Yeah, he is starting to lose 2. The Zerglings out. Looks like these Stalkers are going to just be shooting them around a little bit, taking out another one of them there, and I think this harassment is finally put to an end there.
Yeah,
he definitely did do good work with those units. If we look at the units lost tab right now, Protoss players lost 600 resources worth, and Zerg player only lost 250, so he really made good use of those units there.
Yeah, and he used those very well to distract. As you can see, he's building that hatchery. He's not actually going for any minerals on that hatchery. He's just building the in-base hatchery. This is going to give him perfect amounts of units that he needs to he's trying to clinch this game and just get out as many units as he can and try and take advantage of, again, that early advantage that he did get.
Yeah, the placement on this hatchery is actually a little bit interesting. I'm not entirely sure why he would want to put the secondary hatchery at the natural expansion instead of in the main base, because it seems like it's going to be a lot more vulnerable to an attack out there.
At the same time, it's a little bit less running distance, though.
That's true.
I guess.
We'll see what he manages to do with that later on. We look at the production tab, Protoss ground units, weapon level 1. God, that is a long name. And he is starting to take out these destructible rocks behind the base. They're probably going to be going for the expansion down on the low ground here pretty soon. Yep,
same thing with the Zerg. Zerg is now securing his on the low ground, so definitely an economy-based game. The Zerg has to expand more. I'm surprised he didn't...
Yeah, well, he is starting to take out these destructible rocks by the rich mineral field there, so we'll probably be going for that pretty soon too, and he's starting to spread the creep down there as well. We see the creep tumors coming down nicely from the natural expansion there.
Yeah, that's true. Really nice creep spread by this point in the game. He's definitely getting a lot of vision.
Oh, we do have an observer going over the high yield expansion though, so he is going to see that the Zerg player is getting that. He's also then going down to the low ground expansion. He's going to see that, so he's going to know pretty much everywhere that the Zerg player is expanding to, and that's definitely going to give him a leg up on this match.
Yeah. That's very good. Meanwhile, though, we do have a lot of Zerglings now coming down to an aggressive position here. We're probably going to see them attack. If we look at units out at the moment, it's only 8 Stalkers, 2 Sentries, 1 Zerg. Oh, and here they all come. Oh my god, 38 Zerglings. Going down to the low ground, looking for an expansion is nothing there to find.
Yeah, it is a good placement here with the Stalkers, really having them in the mineral line like that. It's going to make it very difficult for those Zerglings to do any kind of run-by harassment, and the Zerg player does know that, so he's not going to be trying to force an attack here.
Yeah, I think after a couple more warp-ins, he'll be able to fend those off. He definitely needs more of those Zealots. As we see, he's warping in Zealots now. Those are going to be a lot more effective against the mass Zerglings, and right now he's just deciding to play a little bit more cautiously, taking out his rocks, so that his drones will be... Actually, he's just going to send his drones around anyway, but he's grabbing that gold expansion, so he's trying to get the leg up on the economy part of the game, and we're going to see how that works out for him.
Yeah, and it is worth mentioning that he does have the spine crawlers here, and that's a very good choice because these high-yield expansions on this map are very vulnerable. There are just so many paths that you can take to get into that expansion, so it's good that he's putting in some static defenses to try to protect that there. And we now actually do have a huge army of Banelings. Oh my god, he's morphing all of these into Banelings. That's going to be fun. Keep an eye on that.
And he does have drop capabilities, so we're going to see him probably go for a Baneling drop, which is probably my favorite thing in the game. I don't think I like anything more in this game besides a Baneling drop. And there they go, loading up all of these with Banelings. That's really great.
We do have the Protoss player starting to put up his Nexus at the low ground now. He is also putting up a pylon and a photon cannon there, so we'll see whether that gets up or whether this very aggressive Zerg attack is going to be able to take that out before anything actually really starts going down there. There is an observer here, very nicely positioned. It's going to see the huge army of Zerglings moving out, so he's going to know that's on the way, and he's going to see all the overlords go by. And even though he can't actually see that they're loaded up, he's probably going to know what's on the way. He is backing those Colossi out that I actually did not even notice him getting. That's going to be useful against the Zerglings, but here comes the Baneling drop. We'll see what he can do with it. Yeah, those are just going down all over the place, blowing up everything. Nice force field placement, did manage to keep the Zerglings away, but against that number of Banelings raining down their heads, there was just nothing they could really do against that, and they did take a lot of damage there.
So much damage.
Taking a look at the units lost tab, it's about 3,200 right now to 2,700, and all the Zerglings are going to be running into the main base now, just swinging right past the expansion. Really good warp in there with the Zealot, though, managed to keep a lot of them back, actually, and only about 5 ended up getting in, so that was a really good clutch timing play there. But unfortunately, the rest did manage to get in, and these little worker guys with them blanking on the name of probes are going to be forced out of the base for the time being.
Yeah, perfect harass. We saw him harass a lot earlier. Unfortunately, he's letting a couple more of those Zerglings in, but he's definitely doing a perfect job with this Zergling harass. The Banelings, I don't think worked out as well as he wanted because of those perfect force fields. He was not able to get his Zerglings to come in at the same time, and he did lose quite a bit of resources there. Again, it worked out pretty nicely for him, but he did lose that kind of element of surprise, which he put so many resources towards. 46 Banelings on the way. He's not giving up with this strategy, that's for sure.
If we look at the units lost tab, the Protoss players actually pretty much managed to close the gap at this point. He is only ahead on that by 25 minerals, so he's definitely making a stronger recovery, and after picking off all the stragglers, he did manage to bring himself forwards a bit.
Yeah, definitely with Banelings, just the resources that you have to put into them. Not only are you making Zerglings, but then you have to do morphing, then you have to upgrade speed, then you have to upgrade the ventral sacs for the overlords, and I mean that's a lot of resources put in.
I remember the name of that upgrade, by the way.
I am too.
Do have another attack going on here, though. The Zerglings did get in, managed to take out a few probes. I actually didn't see how many, and we do have another Baneling drop going, and that's just going to be tearing through that army. Although the Colossus are doing a really good job against these Zerglings, it is not enough. That Colossus goes down, one man just to get up on the ledge here, and once again, all these Zerglings are going to be swinging into the expansion. They're going to take out this photon cannon. They're going to start trying to take out these probes, and they're just doing a lot of damage to this Protoss base. A really nice harass. And if we look at the units lost tab now, that definitely worked out for the Zerg players. He is actually ahead by exactly 1,000 minerals right now, so pretty good for him.
He did get a lot of his units. He did lose all of his units there, basically. He's actually getting a lot of those overlords taken out by just those stalkers, so actually I don't think he lost very many, but he did take a lot of damage on them. It definitely worked out just because of the economy lost for the Protoss player. He lost all the probes mining at his third expansion, so he's running out of minerals at this point. He's got to expand again to stay in it. As you see, the Zerg now is expanding. He's been getting a lot of upgrades, and here you see the flyer upgrades. He did get he's getting the infinite station pit and 2 hatcheries at the moment.
Yeah, we do also have some Corruptors out on the field to try to help out against those Colossi. Very good choice because those were doing massive damage to his Zergling army, so we're going to see if he can make that work for him. Against the Stalkers, it might be a little bit difficult just because the Stalkers are going to be good at picking these guys off, but we'll see if he manages to make it work. He is moving in for another attack here. Protoss player did spot that with the Observer, so we're not sure how much damage he's going to be able to do. Colossus just tearing up those Zerglings. But the Corruptors are doing a lot of damage to the Colossi, actually bringing a few Zerglings around there for the flank, but it didn't really do a whole lot for him. And they do manage to pick off that last Colossi with Corruptors before they are forced out of the way.
Yeah, I think just perfect, really good force fields, keeping the Protoss to be able to hold his ground against these extreme numbers. Losing a couple Zerglings here for no good reason, just they're all going in to die, I guess. So he's losing units in places where the Protoss needs him to lose units, because he's just kind of throwing away some of these units, because as a Zerg player it's much harder to micro when you have 88 Zerglings compared to a couple Zealots to micro. So he's
well, on the other hand,
throwing.
You would argue that if you have an army of that size, you don't need the micros badly.
That is true. He does have that expansion up. He hasn't started making workers, and actually he's not too far up on harvesters. So Protoss player really holding strong. He's mined out his main pretty much. He's mining out his natural expansion, and he's starting to mine out the third base. He hasn't mined it out yet, but he does have really good saturation, if not arguably a little bit too much saturation. So he's got to start taking over this high yield. He's got to push back the creep.
Yeah, we do
so
see
that he
him
can actually
picking off some creep tumors, bringing around the observer there to try to get rid of some of those, and we do have the pylon going down here, so probably going to see something going up at this expansion pretty soon. The Zerglings do run in there, and a few do get taken out by that massive Colossus laser tearing through all of them. Not a little bit of miss micro there, unfortunate for Stephano, the Zerg player.
Yeah, again, it's just coming down to the micro at this point. Oh, there goes the harvesters for the Zerg, 75 over 55.
Yeah,
going up
really
20
nice
harvesters.
force fields there, actually managing to keep all those bandlings away from the army, splitting up the army really nicely. I was worried when he came in here because with this little 2 paths here, I was really worried that he was going to get flanked pretty badly, but he did manage to keep that away nicely with the force fields. And he is now finally getting the bandlings in there, going to be doing some damage, a couple fungal growths going down, doing a lot of damage. But the Protoss player is definitely getting in here, is going to start taking out the spine crawlers, going to start trying to take out the workers as much as he can, really doing a lot of damage with this army.
Yeah, these corruptors have nothing really to shoot anymore as all the Colossus have gone down. They're just kind of flying. That's the problem with the Zerg player. Sometimes you overcompensate and you get actually too much of the corruptors, and then once all the Colossus are dead, you have no ground units to shoot at the ground, and that's what we're seeing here. We're seeing great ground units here. He moved away from the Colossus after all these corruptors came out, and he's just pushing in with these units. As you see, we have 0, 1, 3 for upgrades. We have 3 attack, 1 armor, no shields, but really working out well.
We do have the Greater Spire coming in, so we're probably going to see some Broodlords, and that should help out a lot against the Ground Army. But what I would really actually like to see from the Protoss player at this point, and I am aware that it is a kind of a big tech switch at this point, but I would like to actually see some High Templar out on the field, because I think that could be really useful against the Zerglings. If you can get a few good storms off, could take out large numbers of them, and they wouldn't be as vulnerable to the Corruptors as the Colossi are. And additionally, with the feedback, it could be very useful if you could get a few feedbacks off on the Infestors, and that could negate the fungal growth and stop a lot of damage from coming in.
Now, we saw the hatchery go down at the 9 o'clock position. Yeah, that one went down, and also the high yield went down. But you have to oh, actually, I'm gonna hold this thought as there's
just
quite
got
a bit
the
of
expansion down too, and taking out some Infestors here. So definitely doing some damage with this army, really keeping the Zerg player back. And I think Stephano is on 2 base at this point, with one of them almost entirely mined out, and the second one getting there too.
Yeah, so this just shows the power of the Protoss, really doing a lot of damage. I mean, he did mine pretty much all of that high yield, so he did, by the time that expansion went down, I'd really like to see the Protoss player expand at this point. As you see, he's throwing it down now, so he's finally going to try and get that economic advantage, which I think he would have done really well getting that a little bit earlier while he was doing all that pushing in.
Yeah, probably would have helped him out. Let's take a look at the income tab right now. Protoss player is actually ahead by about 500 to 600 on the minerals. Gas pretty much even. Protoss player does have a lot more harvesters, 30 to 55 in his favor. So definitely still has the economic advantage, especially once this Nexus goes down at the high yield and these probes can stop long distance mining. We're just going to see him shoot way ahead, so this is going to be really useful for him if Stephano cannot do anything about this. We do have the Broodlings coming in now, along with a small army of, looks like Zerglings, Bandlings, and Infestors. So we'll see if he... Sorry, Broodlords. What did I call them?
Broodlings, the little things that they shoot.
Yeah, Broodlords, slightly better than a single Broodling. And he is going to start harassing this Nexus. We'll see if the Protoss player can do anything about that. He doesn't just want to move out the Stalkers to attack them because he knows it'll just get kited around. That the Banelings and the Infestors will probably start doing damage to that. Although he doesn't have a great ground force right now. The Stephano does not. It's most of his strength relies on the Broodlords, so we'll see what he manages to do about that. A few force fields going down to try to keep the Zerg player away, taking a little bit of damage from the fungal growth, but for the most part, it looks like Stephano is actually managing to do pretty nice damage with the Broodlords, is really putting the hurt on the Protoss army.
Yeah, I think at this point he needs to go for that blink on the Stalkers. He needs to work on production. If we look at the production, he's not actually producing that. He's just going straight up Stalkers. It'd be a lot more effective as Broodlords are really slow and taking advantage of that how slow they are and blinking under them and killing them all while they're not above
Yeah,
space.
doing a lot of damage to this Nexus, bringing down to 146 health, so nearly losing that there, but managing to force them back. But yeah, you're definitely right. Getting some blink for those stalkers. He already has the Twilight Council, so there's not really a lot holding him back from that. And if we look at the resources tab, he definitely can afford it with 1,200 minerals right now, 500 gas, so not really sure why he's not doing that. It actually looks like his macro is slipping up a little bit. We have the Zerg player on 150 minerals, the Protoss player on about 1,500, so he really needs to spend some of that.
Yeah, and that Nexus is gonna go down no problem. So
actually,
losing that.
I saw a starport on the production tab somewhere. I'm not exactly sure where that went down, but it does look like he's bringing a couple of Void Rays. Two of them right here
Two of them
on the
in
low ground. So he's going to start getting Void Rays out. Those will probably be useful against the... Actually, against everything, really. Now that he's morphed all his Corruptors into Broodlords, Stephano does not have a lot of anti-air going for him right now. So those Void Rays could be dangerous if he starts harassing with them.
Yeah, we look at Corruptors, he actually doesn't have a single one. He went 100% morph, which, I mean, this is the problem with transition. You go too much of one thing, and there's always going to be a counter. So, like you said, those Void Rays are going to be perfect counters. They're going to be doing a ton of damage, and there's not going to be a whole lot to take them out, as there's not a whole lot left to shoot the air. It's only really 10 Broodlords.
Yeah, it does seem like there's... This has kind of been Stephano's issue the whole game, is just overcompensating. He got the huge amount of Corruptors when he really didn't need that many, considering how quickly he managed to take out the Colossi, and then he had nothing to really do with them. And now he's morphed them onto Broodlords, and he has no anti-air to counter against the Void Rays that are coming. So it seems like he's just becoming a little bit too dedicated to one build at any given time, and not really focusing on what else could happen. So we'll see how that works out for him in the long run, if he manages to compensate for that and still take a nice victory, or if that is going to end up leading to his downfall in this match.
Yeah, I'd really like to see Todd right now taking advantage of the huge income he has and actually completely dominate and just expand again, and
we
maybe
have
twice.
One single Baneling just chilling out here with the rest of this army. I'm not really sure what he's up to, but he looks very silly all by himself. That's all I can really say, just rolling around.
So, I mean, he wants to kill a probe, probably, but he's not actually going to do it. He's just going to sit where the expansion would go. He definitely wants to prevent that high yield going down, because, I mean, the Zerg has pretty much mined out all that high yield that he has, and he doesn't want the Protoss to take advantage of his high yield.
Yeah, we do have a pack of 8 Void Rays here. It looked like he was going to move out with them, but I guess he's actually just going to leave them chilling here over this little chasm right now. So keep an eye on those guys, see what he does.
Yeah, the Zerg player definitely has to have something go down now, because once that Nexus finishes, there's going to be such a big... I'd really like to see the Protoss player expand to that 3 o'clock position, actually. That hasn't been untouched all game, and I think that would benefit him more than continuously going for this high yield. Maybe even both, because, I mean, the Zerg player is really running low. He hasn't re-expanded. He's just trying to get up a big pushing army, and I think long term the Protoss player is going to win this, as he can just continue to hold his bases.
Yeah, he definitely just does have better macro right now. Like, if we're looking at the income tab, it's about 900 for the Protoss player, 800, 900 to about 300 to 400 for the Zerg player, and the Zerg player is actually on no gas right now, so he really needs to push out and try to expand again. Although if we look at the units tab, he doesn't really have a great army to expand with. He's got the 10 Broodlords, 9 Infestors, and single Baneling, 2 Corruptors, not a whole lot to really push out with or defend an expansion with, so we'll see if he manages to do anything, but it looks like he's really getting forced into an unfortunate position. I'm not sure there's a whole lot he can do to come back at this point.
I don't know if Stephano has seen the Void Rays yet, but I think that's going to be Todd's huge advantage here. I'd really like to see him be a little bit more aggressive with that. He has the Observer there, checking out, continuously looking to see if any bases are going up. Just deny those drones from mining right now.
Yeah,
he doesn't. You don't have to give him that income.
He still is just massing up a ton of Void Rays, so I think rather than harassing with them, he kind of wants to try to keep them hidden, keep the element of surprise, and then when he engages with them, just start tearing through these Broodlords, because if he gives them away with the harassment, then Stephano might have enough time to try to get a counter to that and have something to take out the Void Rays. Whereas if Stephano engages with oh, I can't talk today. If Todd engages with this army, he's just going to be able to take out the Broodlords without anything to really defend against him. Although we do have all of these Spore Crawlers actually being moved forward to a slightly more offensive position, really. So maybe he does know the Void Rays are out there. I'm not entirely sure yet.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised he's moving that far out. I'd expect him to continue playing a little bit more defensively, as he's now completely mined out at that high yield. He has nothing there. He has to he can't even expand if he wanted to.
Yeah,
he just has a ton of larvae.
Harass this little high yield expansion as best he can. Looks like he's going to take out the assimilator. Got a few shots off on the Nexus, but he wasn't really able to take it out because that Grand Army is there. And now the Void Rays come in. They are going to start getting some hits off on the Broodlords, but those Spore Crawlers, very nicely positioned there, actually, are going to be defending the Broodlords rather nicely, and so Todd can't really get the Void Rays in there to do anything against the Broodlords. Actually, a very nice play there. I wouldn't really think of using Spore Crawlers in an offensive way like that, but he's making it work for him. So
definitely, and he has the Queens there to transfuse when he needs it. It's a really good offensive setup, and there goes the fungal growth on all those units. That's going to be a ton of damage over time. So he's got to be careful not to continue losing Void Rays here.
He is starting to try to target the Queens with this to take out the transfuse. It's really hard to say who you should be going for in this situation because there are so many things coming. The Queens have the transfuse, the Infestors have the fungal growth, and the Broodlords are just tearing through the ground army. The Colossi are doing a nice job of shooting up all the Broodlings, but they're still managing to do a lot of damage to the Stalkers, and he actually managed to come through with that one rather nicely. Good use of the fungal growth there to really do a ton of damage to these Void Rays. If we look at them, they are all in very low health. And he didn't really take out that many Broodlords there, so I am actually pretty surprised. That went much better for Stephano than I thought it would.
Yeah, he lost a lot of those Void Rays. He wasn't able to push in just because his units are getting blocked by those Broodlings. And it's just so hard to push through. Wow, this is really, really good play from Stephano, trying to come back from this. He's, again, long-distance mining. And again, I'd really like to see some of that 578, 600 minerals being used towards expanding again, as we see some probes now going to mine from that 3 o'clock position.
Yeah, it looks like he is going to get the Nexus down there with the Broodlords. He does manage to take that out, and so that's going to put a big dent in Todd's economy. It's just not a lot he can really do against the Broodlords. I'm really impressed that Stephano managed to defend against those Void Rays so nicely, and now he's just going to start going in, taking out the Photon Cannons, tearing down the remains with this expansion. A really good play with the Spore Crawlers and the Infestors there to just defend those Broodlords against the Void Rays. I guess that kind of answers our question of did he see the Void Rays? I think the answer is definitely yes, or else he would not have such a solid defense up against them.
Yeah, really, I mean, oh, and we have actually Void Rays in the main for Stephano doing a lot of damage here. Finally having to pull back as the Queens come.
Yeah, I unfortunately actually only got it on the end of that and saw them get pushed away. I didn't really see how much damage they managed to do, but I will take your word for it.
But again, this is the play I want to see. Just having these 4 Void Rays there, harassing, keeping Stephano back so he can't push. He has to bring back all his units right now or else he's going to lose all his main. This is just perfect harass right here. Trying not to lose the Void Rays and keeping Stephano from mining, because if you keep him from mining, right now he's at 0 income. He has no income because he can't actually mine anything. Oh, and he's catching a little bit these Spore Crawlers out of position.
He did almost get the hatchery there, but the Queens managed to force him away from it, so yeah, very close there, but that's actually a nice number of Queens. That's definitely going to help him against the Void Rays. It's kind of an awkward position right now. Stephano doesn't really have the income or the units to push out, but then again, Todd doesn't have a huge ground army either, and looks like we do have an engagement going in the middle. Void Rays trying to take out a few Spore Crawlers, but they're going to get pushed back by that very large army of Queens, and the Broodlords are not going to attack just yet. Going to hold a little bit of a defensive position here in the middle of the map.
Now there's just perfect transfuses going on. As you see, they're all low on energy. Now is the time you really want to move out, but he can't actually, and he has to just continue that harass. But just the perfect transfuses.
Yeah, he's actually keeping up this very small force rather nicely. I'm very impressed by that. Starting to get some hits off on the Colossi, bring in the Void Rays, but he's really not able to do much damage with the Spore Crawlers and the Queens there. And Stephano's just going to keep pushing forward, sending down armies of Broodlings to try to take out this Grand Army. The Colossus is shooting a lot of them, but there's only so much he can do. And Todd is going for the direct engagement here, going to try to take out these Queens as fast as he can, but he's not really able to do a lot of damage. Yeah, Transfuse is going down very nicely, keeping them all up really close. I'm actually not sure who's going to come out ahead, but it looks like Stephano's army is going to be able to keep that back, and Todd does GG there.
GG.
Wow,
What a Zerg comeback.
Yeah.
What that perfect offensive positioning to keep him off his high yield minerals. And basically say, if I can't mine, you can't mine, basically. And getting at least his long-range mining going.
I'm really impressed. I thought that when he had no income, no resources there wasn't really a lot that he was going to be able to do, but he just kept this small force alive for so long with good long-distance attacks on the Broodlords, good transfusion on the Queens, and he just managed to make this work for him, so I am really surprised.
Yeah, really good play there. Like I said earlier, he wasn't doing as good with the small details as the Protoss player originally, but I completely take that back at this point. That superb play with those Queens especially. I mean, that Queen play, keeping all those units alive, the medics in the back that all have to be remotely controlled basically, and running till they're low on energy and then retreating till they get a little bit more and then going back in. It was really perfect plays.
Yeah, so hopefully you guys enjoyed that, despite the fact that we pretty much had no idea what we were talking about for most of the cast, because, like I've said many times, we're really out of date on StarCraft. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that anyway. If you liked this cast, be sure to hit that nice little yellow subscribe button up there, or whatever color it is. It used to be yellow. I actually don't know if YouTube's changed that by now, but hit the button. That's the important part. And thanks for watching.
Yeah, thanks guys. Hope you enjoyed.